Let's go away, let's go away. Daytona, Daytona, let's go away, let's go away. Daytona. This is your guru chief. The course is really tough, but in time anybody's home. Good luck, Daytona.
Hello. Yes, it's finally happened. Daytona Championship USA is now playable on a PC with controller support. What's up, controller issues? What's up, Wolf Sight?
Single player.
So we're just gonna go through all the tracks.
Please
From this game.
race course.
So the menu selection. Hold on, I gotta go from there. Menu selection has to be done with the arrow keys. Everything else
National Speedway
is controller based.
manual transmission. Ladies and
That's kind of
gentlemen,
annoying.
Start your mission. You're a rolling star.
But yes, this is the new Daytona game that came out in arcades last year. And right now, I am working on getting this to my racing wheel, but I'm still trying to iron out some things with that. So I have to use a controller, which is not great, but we'll make do with what we got. I'm just happy this is playable. And it's also insane how much this plays like the original Daytona. Though there are some weird things that I dislike greatly. But I'll get to those whenever they happen. Turn down the music. Okay. I will turn down the music in the next race. I'll go into that particular thing. Like, whenever you hit an object or a wall, you just slow down so much. Also, again, using a controller, not great. Just turn down the volume. Alright, how does that sound? You guys can hear me better? Hear me better? Since I'm using a DualShock 4. Roll this. Gonna have some connection issues. hear you better. Okay. I'm gonna have to do some adjustments because this game is actually insanely loud. But like this, there's so many similarities to the original Daytona. Like, so this is the new track. Well, one of the new tracks, which is literally just a reskin of 3.7 Speedway. Like, even down to like that little intro with the camera angles. Like, it's the same. It's the same. Though I really like the new songs in here. Well, the new song that we just heard on the last track. The remixed Daytona theme is really good. I'll just let this play out. As for the other songs, I do have a soft spot for because literally it's just the songs from the Dreamcast Daytona USA. So we'll go into those now. We'll go through the new tracks first. So, there's a weird gray area for this game. So what ended up happening is that Sega uploaded a patch for the arcade version for arcade operators on their site. What people ended up finding out is that they didn't just upload a patch. They uploaded the entire game. And people realized that, and it runs natively on a Windows 10 PC with no problems. It's just an executable file. EXE file, whichever you want to say. The only problem is that there was no controller support at all, because, you know, it's proprietary, probably, to get for the wheel and pedals. So, this is a patched version. Someone from some arcade forum. Wow. That was a weird spin out. That worked out good. But this is after someone made a patch and got X input working. So a standard Xbox 360 or Xbox One controller through USB, and you can play it. The only thing that's weird are menus. So like gas and brake and the analog stick for steering and the start button on the machine. The only thing that doesn't work still at the moment is manual transmission. I don't know if there is a fix for that, but I cannot get that working. So we're going to be playing this game in automatic for the time being. So the thing with this track, it is a mirrored copy of Dinosaur Canyon with a new aesthetic, which is kind of lame, but it does have the music from Rin Rin Rink from the Dreamcast Daytona USA, which, if you ask me, is the best song in that game. So I'm ecstatic that they brought it back for this game. It's so weird, like, the only new song they made was a new version of the Daytona theme, and then everything else is just taken from the Dreamcast version of Daytona, which is fine. Oh. Well, okay, that was weird. Like, hitting the wall actually jettisoned me forward, which doesn't happen. So the collisions in this game are pretty bad. It's like whenever you hit a wall, the game decides to take a bit of a tip from the Sega Saturn Virtual Racing school of collisions, where hitting walls rather than like skidding up against them and losing a little bit of speed, you lose a lot of speed. Which is a real bummer. I think the other cars are still weird and glitchy like it was. Like, it's insane how much like the original Daytona they made this game. I mean, I know they literally just took the physics and planted it in a new visual style, but still, it's crazy that this game is even like this. And then the third new track is a mirrored copy of Seaside Street Galaxy. Which, what I like is that they include the original tracks in there too. I don't know how to explain the differences because even I don't notice them, but there are differences. Like, what usually takes me like, it's around 3.7 speedway. It's like a 17 or 16 second lap. But in this version, it's like an 18 second lap. So something went weird. Also, the jump starts do work, but I'm still kind of learning them. They're not quite the same, though I do get them off every so often. Also, I hate the color scheme for the car. I hate it. I like the manual transmission car better, because it's more akin to how the original car looked. And it does keep the original color scheme. But this red and yellow, ugh. I understand they're trying to make it look more like real NASCAR, which, I mean, yeah, it kind of looks like McDonald's. Like, in arcades, in terms of, like, stock car racing games, like, the only competitor this game has is EA's NASCAR game, which is fucking terrible. If you've ever played that EA Sports NASCAR racing game, it's an awful, awful racing game. Like, it doesn't feel good to play. The collisions are hilariously awful. Like, Sega definitely went the safe route with this game and didn't really put much effort into it, other than, like, the visual upgrade. But I will say the best thing that they ever did for this game is take the 3 out of the title. Because this was going to be called Daytona 3 Championship USA, and then before release they just got rid of the 3. And after playing this, I can totally understand why. Not to say that this is bad, like, I'm still having fun with it. It's still cool to play a new Daytona game, but this is more of like an HD remake with some new visuals for mirrored tracks. In NASCAR games on the PS2. So the arcade ones are made by a company called Global VR, but they've got like EA Sports plaster all over it. Right, so that's all the new tracks. So now we're gonna play through the old tracks. You're loving you racing. Thanks, Bart. Appreciate it. All this love for racing games. Oh, there's Takanobu Mitsuyoshi. Hold on, I'll wait. I'll let the intro play. Like, he re-recorded the theme song here, and I really, really like the new theme song. Also, what is up, Nibs? There was a version of Sonic and All-Stars Racing for arcade, which I've never seen, but apparently does exist. But yeah, I do see Mario Kart Arcade pretty frequently at, like, yeah, places like Dave & Buster's. Alright, so now we're gonna get through the original tracks. So, I'm going to demonstrate this. Manual doesn't work. I have not figured out a way to get the manual working in this game, because they haven't mapped it. So, what I found out, that if you just tune the manual car and not change gear, it'll automatically put you in automatic. So look in the bottom right where the speedometer is. It takes a few seconds for it to change, and it just automatically switches to automatic. So yes, I like this car a lot better, because it's more reminiscent of how the original car looked. It's got the same color scheme, it's got a big-ass bumper on the back. I wish the wheels would jet out like they do, but it's also not real NASCAR aesthetic. I do kind of think it's funny that they give this car to the people who would play manual, who know what they're doing when playing a Daytona game. So yeah, this is a remix from the Dreamcast version. I do like playing on the Daytona International Speedway track purely for the new song that's in there. Also, this rock that I'm driving under, they got rid of the slot machine and just put a TV screen there. So the reason they did that was they want this game to have worldwide appeal for arcade operators. And in some parts of the world where gambling and gambling paraphernalia are banned, they could not have the slot machine there. So they just made a big-ass screen, which, that's fine. But it kind of misses the reason for the name 37 Speedway. Also, instead of dice right there, it's a globe. And yeah, new announcer dudes. Yeah. Whoa! And I'm going the opposite way! Holy shit! That's pretty good. That's real funny. Hope it comes out on Switch. So, here's how I stand about this game. If Sega's serious about bringing Daytona back, I really hope they just leave this one in the arcades and not do anything with it. If they're serious about bringing Daytona back, make a proper Daytona 3. I'd rather it not be this game. Because this is literally just an HD up-resing of the original Daytona. Like, the handling feels exactly the same. And, hey, maybe you want that, but I don't know. When Sega made Daytona 2, they made a precedent that Daytona 2 did not handle anything like Daytona 1. And I really, really like that. I love how Daytona 2 handles. Daytona 2 is my favorite video game of all time. And even to an extent, like, the Daytona USA for Dreamcast, like, it had the Hornet car in there, but it had cars that did not handle like the Hornet. So it was very much informed by how the original Daytona handled. But there's enough different cars in there to make it feel different. And in Power Edition of Daytona 2, they added the Hornet Classic in there, and it handled pretty much the same as the original Daytona, which, that's fine. But I feel like Daytona 2 and Daytona Dreamcast were very much like their own things. They have their place in Daytona canon, but, you know, they're very much their own separate games. But this is the original Daytona with a nice coat of paint on it. This doesn't feel like a sequel. This doesn't feel like an incremental upgrade. This is just an up-res. A remake, if you will. Like, Daytona 2's aesthetic was such a unique thing. Like, think about it. Like, Sega made the most popular racing game in arcades of all time up to that point with the original Daytona. Like, they established, like, a very specific look for that game. Like, that game was super Japanese in all the right places. Like, the soundtrack was this Japanese guy singing over stock car racing and these weird locales, and, you know, It's crazy. Daytona 2 comes along, and with an aesthetic that is very much informed by American stock car racing, which might not be everyone's cup of tea. It's certainly not mine, but man, did they fucking nail it in the right places. Like, the soundtrack for the Daytona 2 is fucking great. The handling feels really solid. I love how the hard car handles on manual transmission. Oh my god, it feels so good. Like, for the sequel to Daytona, they very much they reinvented Daytona, which I think was the right move. Because at that point, like, I guess it didn't really dawn on them that Daytona had created this legacy. I mean, it only released 4 years after the original Daytona. And even then, like, we got Championship Circuit Edition on the Saturn, which definitely was not informed at all by the arcade version. Like, everything handled differently, it looked different, it felt different, it sounded different. Like, at that point, like, Sega hadn't really established what it meant to be a Daytona game. But as time has passed on, I guess they've kind of established that when people think of Daytona, they only think of the original one. And so when they're all like, oh, we should make another Daytona, oh, well, let's remake how the original one was, which, after all these years, was probably the right move. But in terms of, like, maybe seeing this franchise further into the future, like, there really has to be some changes. In regards to, like, handling. Like, have, like, the original car handling in there, you know, because people are going to complain, and, like, that's my Daytona, that's how I want it to feel. But I say they go the Daytona 2 route and, you know, make it its own. Still have the same track, still have a car that handles the same, but make it, like, different in the places where it counts, where it feels like its own thing. Because this is just Daytona, first Daytona, and it looks pretty. And that's pretty much how I feel about this game. It's a pretty version of the first Daytona with a lacking excuse for new tracks. It's not a real sequel. In terms of, like, getting Daytona back into the conscious of people who would visit an arcade and be like, oh, hey, it's Daytona. Like, they'd be like, oh, yeah, this is totally Daytona. And the people who finally remember Daytona and still play it religiously and be like, go into an arcade and still feel at home with it, like, sure, I could see that being a pretty good idea on Sega's part to make it this way, to bring it back. But this ain't no sequel. And I'm glad they realized that before they officially released it. Also, I think the Dreamcast version of the song is so much better, so I'm glad they put it in here. Also, what's up, Glenn Oliver? Caught me in the middle of my little tangent there. Oh, I was actually doing real good there. Wow! I was doing actually real good. So, those were all the tracks. I do want to play this track again because I think the music in it is fantastic. I'm gonna bring back other Sega Rally. So they made a Sega Rally, like in the late 2000s. They made a Sega Rally 3, which very much felt like a very different game, but, you know, which was the right way to go, because people don't have a reference for Sega Rally like they do with the original Daytona. This is such a weird game that they decided to make it like this. I mean, I understand. I mean, I'm just going to be repeating myself. I understand why they made it like this, and this is not a real sequel, but if they were to continue this franchise in a meaningful way, they really got to incrementally update it in ways that really matter, while still, like, adhering to its legacy. Tempo. That's a game. I love Tempo. I should play that again. That was like one of the first games I ever really streamed. Like back when I was streaming on RetroWare's Twitch account. Sounds like a fitting game to stream fairly soon. Games with the prices. Man, I was so lucky that I got Tempo at the price I did. I got a complete box version of the 32X version for $15. But yes, I would love to get a copy of Super Tempo at some point, but oh my god, is it expensive. Also, this this credit song, I want to say, is like from the Saturn version of Circuit Edition. Game Over themes from the Dreamcast version as well. And I kind of dig these weird callbacks. Also, I'm just gonna let this name entry song play out because it's fucking great. I don't know if this comes from another Daytona game or not. I've never heard it before. Arcade division, some of the Christian head come in. So here's what I think. Like, if they were to reinvigorate, say, like Sega Rally, I'd prefer they bring someone in from Codemasters who does the dirt games, because the original Colin McRae Rally was so informed by how Sega Rally 1 and 2 played, or I guess the first Sega Rally, how that game played. And like, it just kind of incrementally like evolved into what the dirt games are now. And I don't know if any of you guys played, what was it? Sega Rally Revo for 360 and PS3, which is like a version, like, that game and Sega Rally 3 were developed in tandem together, and they both look exactly the same, but they both feel very different. Like, I really like Sega Rally Revo. I should play that sometime on here. Like, those were made by two separate teams, but visually look exactly the same. Like, the same aesthetics, same graphics, same interface, same everything. They both handle incredibly differently. And I don't know if it's still available for download anymore on PSN or Xbox Live Arcade, but they did re-release Sega Rally 3 on console as Sega Rally Online Arcade, which I also have. And it just feels different because that particular version of that game is not meant for a controller. While Sega Rally Revo was, you know, made for consoles with a controller in mind. And so that's how you start seeing, like, yeah, these games feel differently. Oh, I botched it. Man.
Welcome to Victory Lane.
The new Daytona. Yep, this is Daytona Championship USA. We'll do a championship round. So championship. So imagine if you were really good at how this game handled on a wheel, which I probably would be better than using a controller. You play through all three of the new tracks, but also the lap count is significantly lower. So instead of 8 laps, it's 4 laps on this track. But also, the AI is much easier as a result. So now, like, these guys are going so much slower. More of a pushover. At this point, like, the only thing I really have to wrestle with are controlling this on a controller. Oh. You see, when you like you grind up against a wall, you just lose so much speed. I'm probably not gonna make it. I like Master System Outrun.
A little faster. In the next race.
Oh, I lost so much speed. Again. We still might be good, though. Maybe not. Figure it out. Ah, that was close. Get third or better. Oh, it's fine though. I like this new version of the song. Just barely. Oh.
You qualified for the next race.
And then it's gonna take us to Lakeside.
Second race, Lakeside Castle Speedway.
Oh shit. I'll take it. So we got one more track left, which I've not been able to get first on. Just the Metro City.
Third race, Metro City Raceway.
Uh-oh. Oh, no. Okay. Just in time. Oh, no. Oh, no. Trolls, please. No! Okay. So yeah, I lost this race. Check out the pits. I have not seen the pit animation. Wait, there's no pit. Alright, because it's only one lap. So the music for this track is from Circuit Pixie on Dreamcast. Personally, I would have chosen National Park Speedway. If you're gonna pick the highlights in terms of the soundtrack from the Dreamcast version, but Circuit Pixie not bad, but National Park Speedway. Come on. Let's just go exploring. That was fun. Planes flying dangerously low near buildings. Also here, I'm gonna crash my car just so you guys know how similar this is to the original Daytona. Like, that's the same animation.
That was close. Come on, try again. 3, 2, 1, go!
So now we can race properly here. Ugh. Oh, that's it for this race.
was close. Try again.
Let's see if we can get the jump start. Well, better than the last one. Ugh. I turned too late. I think that's gonna do it. At least I got into the single digits. Making progress.
That was close. Come on, try again. 3, 2, 1, go.
Took that a little wide, but we should be okay. Oh, so close. If I kept my speed, I might have been able to get like 4th or something. Made up one position. See, we're getting better.
That was close. Come on, try again. 3, 2, 1, go.
Alright, we got a much faster start there. suppose I should look up behind me. Oh my god. Oh! No! Okay, 5th. If I didn't hit any of those walls, like skirted past them, may have gotten to at least 3rd. Oh, I fucked up the start. It's hard to be accurate. Well, let's see how much I can make up. Well, that really sucked. Yeah, specifically for this track, like any one thing, you're fucked. It's because they only allow 1 lap. Like, it's just so difficult to make up so many positions in 1 lap on this track. Oh, that was weird. That's another weird Daytona thing. Yo! What is up, Executioner? Not only is it working, but I put up the original tracks in there. The original songs. From or I should say the remixed songs from this particular version. I feel like they fit the game better. So we'll give this another shot.
That was close. Come on, try again. 3, 2, 1, go.
Not great, but could have been worse. Ooh. There you go. Top 3. Oh. That'll probably be the only time I'll ever finish championship. But I'll take it. That would be a good way of finishing off the stream, but I gotta hear that Daytona remix one more time.
Please. Please choose manual or automatic. Ladies and gentlemen, start your
Just sounds so good. Initiated that too early. Ugh. Just come to a standstill whenever you hit anything. Alright. At least I finished championship. I'll end it on that.
Now is your name with the
Yes, I am using gamepad. I'm using DualShock 4 with Input Mapper, and Input Mapper is doing some wonky shit right now. Because the only other controller I have, the analog stick is really touchy, and this one just feels better than the other one, so that's why I'm using the DualShock. But yes, it is way too sensitive on a pad. And I have not tested it with my wheel yet, because my wheel is an X input, so I got to figure out how to remap that specifically for this. So it's going to take some finagling for me to get that down. But yeah, that is going to do it for me. I'm using I was using a Power A Xbox One controller because it was cheap, and I actually do like how it feels. Not great for Daytona. But yeah, that's going to do it for me tonight. Thanks for sticking by. And thanks for also checking out this. There's a new Daytona game came out last year, and that's really fucking insane. And it's not at all what I wanted, but I'll take what I can get. It's Daytona. It feels like Daytona. Kind of sounds like Daytona. Doesn't really look like Daytona, but whatever. Not necessarily the direction I want them to take for this series, but I'd rather they pull a Daytona 2 and just do a, like, just change it up. And yes, made by the Chinese. What can you do? I suppose so. For what it's worth, they made a good version of. They made a pretty competent version of Daytona 1. That it looks nice, and I generally like how it sounds. So, yep, that's gonna do it for me, guys. I'm probably gonna have a video either come out this week or next week or sometime on the weekend. I don't know. I guess it is Saturnology related, but I guess I'll go into more details about what exactly is gonna be going on. So, in that video. So stay tuned for that. It's a video. It's going to be a doozy. Not necessarily for talking about a specific game. Just I got some stuff to talk about. So that's going to be a doozy for the channel. But until then, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. And I'll just let the music play us out. So I'll see you guys on Saturday. Actually, I don't know if I'll see you Saturday. I'll figure something out. See you guys.